Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today I am delighted, absolutely delighted, over the moon, because Empoleon's winning. Empoleon's doing winning over in Japan. I love the new Empoleon we are getting over in Phantasmal Flames. It is one of my absolute favourite cards from the set, and that means we can sit down and have a good old look at it now, can't we? Yes. Yes, we can, and I, for one, am delighted. So with that borne in mind, maybe we should remind ourselves what Empoleon actually does. We have 320 HP, which is awesome, and we have the ability Emperor's Stance, which prevents all effective attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. What does that mean? It means damage counters. So something like a Dragapult trying to hit this on the bench, because it doesn't say active, absolutely will not work. That's a good thing. Special conditions absolutely will not work. Instant one-hit KOs, I'm looking at you, Absol. They don't work either. Special conditions, damage counters, removing energy is another one we see quite a bit. Instant KOs, these kind of things don't work. It's a great ability. It's not an ability that will carry a Pokemon. There's got to be something else about it. But if it's a Pokemon you kind of want to play anyway, this ability becomes great. We've then got the attack Iron Feathers, which does 210 damage. And during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 60 less damage from attacks. Oh. Well, you've already got 320 HP, which is huge. Now you're taking 60 less damage from attacks. And remember, you are immune to effects of attacks. So a lot of the time when you're sitting there tanking, what your opponent's going to want to try and do is soften you up, whether that's damage counters, special conditions, etc. Or something like Absol wants to come in and get a big giant one-hit KO. Yeah, none of that works. So you've got 380 HP and your opponent has to just come after you with damage. Love it. Absolutely love it. And I'm going to spoil the surprise right now. Our race spec of choice here is Hero's Cape. Like, obviously our race spec of choice here is Hero's Cape, because it gives you an extra 100 HP. An extra 100 HP! Yeah, you get to play one A-spec in your deck. I mean, this is one of those. I think some decks, you can sit down and have a real conversation about what the most appropriate A-spec to use is. I don't think you can really do that with Empoleon. I think you look at Empoleon and you go, oh, cool, Hero's Cape. I'm not seeing much of a counter-argument here. I love this card of Empoleon because now you've got actually 420 HP, but you take 60 less from attack, so you've got an effective HP of 480, and you're immune to special conditions, so your opponent's actually got to do damage. And yeah, sure, you know, you get something like a Golden Go, for instance. Yes, absolutely, Golden Go can come along and get a one-hit KO. They just need 10 energy. If they've got 10 energy, they can do 500 damage. And then, yeah, absolutely, this will work. Raging Bolt, absolutely, can get a one-hit KO here. 7 energy. 7 energy will then do 490, and then you will get the KO. So, yes, absolutely, some of these big one-hit KO decks can go over the top here and can get big one-hit KOs. But when you've got an effective HP of 490, it's not that easy. You can't just go, oh, well, loses to Golden Go. Yeah, fine, if Golden Go can get 10 energy in hand, plus 1 attached to the active, fine. They can do 500 damage and go through me after Iron Feathers. It's not going to be that easy, though, a lot of the time now, is it? No. No, it's not. So that's the main bit of the deck here. You are just sitting there smashing with Empoleon, but don't worry, because we have some other tricks coming in here as well. Like, for instance, well, Archaludon. And Archaludon here seems like a little bit of a no-brainer. This seems like one where you look at it and you go, oh yeah, obviously they're playing Archaludon. Because one of the downsides of playing your Empoleon here is that it's going to take free energy to get up and rolling. That's quite a lot of energy. That's a little bit awkward. So what you do is you play Archaludon. You evolve into it. You get to attach 2 energy from your discard to one of your metal Pokemon. Now, as a side note, you have to have evolved up into Empoleon before you do this. Because you can't use this to go and accelerate energy onto your pre-evolutions. They're water. Bit sad, but never mind. But when you have, this gets energy on Empoleon, and then you attach from hand, boom, there's your free energy. Oh, I'm not worried about the energy cost anymore. Wonderful. And actually, while we're playing Archaludon here, the list I'm going to show you does play one of the single prize Archaludon, one of the very new single prize Archaludon. It's coming around in Phantasmal Flames, but what it does is for free energy, it does 120 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, it doesn't take damage from attacks from basic Pokemon. Yeah. If you find yourself against an all-basic deck, like, for instance, the aforementioned Raging Bolt, which rarely plays evolution Pokemon, yeah, this is going to work very nicely now, isn't it? Yes, it is. And the fact that it's on that same evolution line as the EX, which you're playing for the energy acceleration energy, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, also worth pointing out, yes, obviously we're playing Genesect. Genesect, there wasn't that much that came out of Black Bolt and White Flare that really moved the needle. Genesect does. Once during your turn, you search for 2 evolution metal Pokemon. And it's every turn. It's literally every turn you get to search for 2 evolution Pokemon. It is an absurdly good card. Just a ridiculous card. So, yeah. I suppose you can attack with it in this deck, but that's really not the point. The point is you get to search 2 evolution metal Pokemon. So things like Archaludon and Empoleon, you're never going to worry about having to draw into them. Now the rest of the Pokemon here is just a bunch of text like you might expect. Oh wait, other than Monkey Dory, which to be fair is kind of a tech and you would expect it. Yeah, you're playing a deck here where your aim is to not get one hit KO'd. So obviously Monkey Dory becomes phenomenal. Because Monkey Dory lets you move free damage from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponents. And you're accelerating energy here with Archaludon, so you can spare the energy attachments to put Darkness onto Monkey Dory. They don't one-hit KO you. You move damage off with Monkey Dory. Everybody has a wonderful time. And then obviously we got Pheasantipti to draw cards after your opponent takes a KO. It's a Pokemon deck. Most decks nowadays play Pheasantipti. It's that good. We play Psyduck, because Psyduck stops your opponent using abilities like Dusknoir, and that's actually crucial here. Because when you're playing a deck like this, where you're trying to avoid getting KO'd, where you're trying to tank a little bit, it is absolutely crucial that your opponent cannot do stuff like this to bring you down by 130 HP and then get an actual reasonable KO. So for that reason, yeah, you gotta be playing Psyduck to turn those abilities off. And then we're playing Toedscruel. Toedscruel stops your opponent putting cards from their discard into their hand. Basically, it does other stuff, but the main thing it does here is it turns off superior energy retrieval from Golden Go. And, like, don't get me wrong, I know Golden Go is going to struggle to one-hit KO you when everything's going perfectly, but it's a 2-card tech that really helps against Golden Go, one of the best decks in the game, while also just hitting random decks that are going to be trying to recover cards. So, yeah, you add all of this up together, and you're getting enough value here that it kind of, you just pop it in your deck, and you forget about it. And then when you're against one of those matchups where it's going to come in super handy, it comes out of your deck. And then you go, oh yeah, I play this, don't I? And then you get super happy about the fact that you're playing it in your deck and everybody's happy. Yeah, they're pretty standard tech cards, but still, they're going to help you out rather massively. Largely here, we're talking Empoleon and Archaludon, and you go. Now, in terms of trainer cards, there's a lot of what you would expect, so we don't need to dig in too much, but there are a few we need to point out here. Obviously, I've mentioned Hero's Cape. I think we need to mention it again. But then we've also got Jumbo Ice. Now, Jumbo Ice is a card coming in Phantasmal Flames. Legit one of the best cards in the entire set. And it heals 80 as long as your Pokemon you're healing from has 3 or more energy attached. Well, Empoleon needs 3 energy. And Archaludon, if you're attacking with that, which, to be fair, 3 energy, 220, and has no weakness next turn. If you're against fire decks, this becomes probably the best option, because Empoleon does not get rid of its weakness. Yeah. You're going to be healing quite nicely here. This is awesome. Love it. Seriously, great card in a lot of decks, like this one especially. And then, of course, we're probably going to be thinking about a Professor Turo, or in fact, a couple of them. Turo scenario puts one of your Pokemon in play into your hand. You do have to discard all cards from that Pokemon, which actually is pretty important, because you're going to have one Pokemon that's got your Hero's Cape. And if you use this to pick up that Pokemon, you will lose your Hero's Cape. But if it's that or lose your big tanky Pokemon, I think it's probably worth giving up. It's just worth pointing out that you will lose that. Losing the energy doesn't matter. You're playing a free Archaludon line. So you lose the energy goes to the discard, then you just evolve into another Archaludon, made even easier because of Genesect, and then you get your energy back. So because you're accelerating energy, because you're searching out so easily here, yeah, Turo becomes a great card. And then you combine Turo with your Jumbo Ice and everything else, and you just end up with a Pokemon that doesn't give up many prizes. Here is the list. This was posted by Toynity3 over on Twitter. Won a tournament over there. And it's just a really fun deck. I'm going to be playing around with this when it comes out. Tank with Empoleon, or actually do a bit of tanking with Archaludon if you like. This becomes hard to KO. Yeah, you have to play a bunch of techs to protect against various things, but it's pretty consistent when you build in stuff like Genesect, and I love this. I love Empoleon. I want to play this deck. And like I say, even the one-hit KO decks takes a lot just to get over the top here. But I told you about it all now. So now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this in the comment section. Are you buying it, or do you think it's never going to work? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Derek, who's been a supporter of ours for a little while now and seems to be a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.